The most terrifying moment in any survival situation isn't the crash, the injury, or the storm. It is the silence that comes afterwards. You have called 911, but the call failed. You have waited for the sound of a siren or the rotor blade of a helicopter, but the air is quiet. The sun is starting to set, the temperature is dropping, and slowly the realization washes over you. No one is coming. At this precise moment, the rules of civilized society expire. The laws of physics and biology take over. Most people are not prepared for this shift. They are conditioned to be passengers waiting for a rescue. But when the grid fails or you are too deep in the wilderness, you must transition from a passenger to a pilot. There is a specific psychological phenomenon, rule number 1 on this list, that kills more people than starvation or dehydration combined. It creates a delusion in the brain that convinces you everything is fine, even when you are hours away from death. If you cannot override this mental switch in the first hour, your survival gear is useless because you won't even try to use it. In this video, we are breaking down the 5 absolute rules of self-rescue. These are the protocols used by special operations and survival instructors when the cavalry isn't coming. Let's start with the psychological killer I just mentioned. Rule number 1, shatter the normalcy bias. When disaster strikes, the human brain tries to protect itself from trauma by pretending nothing is wrong. This is called normalcy bias. You see this in sinking ships where passengers sit in the dining hall waiting for instructions while the water rises. You see it in hikers who get lost and keep walking casually, convinced the trail is just around the corner. This bias causes hesitation, and in survival, hesitation is death. You must execute the OODA loop immediately. Observe, orient, decide, act. You must look at your situation and say out loud, I am lost, I am alone, I am in danger. Admitting this breaks the loop of denial. It forces your brain to switch from passive waiting to active survival. The rule is simple. The sooner you accept that help isn't coming, the sooner you start saving yourself. The people who die are the ones who wait for permission to act. This brings us to rule number 2, the physics of 3. You have probably heard the rule of 3s, 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. But knowing the rule isn't enough. You have to prioritize it correctly. Most panicked people try to find food. This is a waste of energy. If you are lost in the woods or stuck in a broken car, your enemy is not hunger. Your enemy is thermodynamics. Rule number 2 is shelter first, water second, food last. Hypothermia can kill you in 3 hours. Even in 50-degree weather, if you are wet and the wind is blowing, your body loses heat faster than it can generate it. If you spend your first few hours looking for berries or hunting squirrels, you are signing your death warrant. You must build a microclimate. Use debris, leaves, snow, or the interior of your car to create a barrier against the wind and the cold ground. Do not stop working until you have a thermo barrier. Only after you are warm do you earn the right to look for water. Now let's talk about that water. Rule number 3 addresses a fatal mistake found in almost every recovered backpack of a deceased hiker. It is a phenomenon called voluntary dehydration. Search and rescue teams often find bodies with half-full canteens of water next to them. Why? Because the person was saving it for later. This is a biological trap. When you are stressed, your thirst mechanism suppresses itself. You don't feel thirsty, but as your hydration levels drop, your blood thickens. This reduces oxygen flow to the brain. Your IQ drops. Your decision-making becomes erratic. You start making simple mistakes like tripping over roots or walking in circles. Rule number 3 is ration your sweat, not your water. If you have water, drink it. Water does you no good inside the bottle. It only works inside your cells. It keeps your brain sharp and your body warm. Instead of saving water, save your sweat. Move slowly. Work in the shade. If you start to sweat, take off a layer immediately. Sweating expels electrolytes and accelerates dehydration. Keep the fluid in your body, but don't be afraid to consume your supply to stay cognitive. This leads us to rule number 4. the concept of the signal. If help isn't coming, it's usually because they can't see you or hear you. The wilderness is vast, and a human being is tiny. To be found, you must become unnatural. Nature does not make straight lines. Nature does not make perfect triangles. Nature does not flash. Rule number 4 is create contrast. If you are wearing a camouflage jacket, take it off and turn it inside out if the lining is bright. Arrange rocks or logs in a straight line or a distinct X shape in a clearing. Use a whistle, not your voice. A human voice is low frequency and gets absorbed by trees. A whistle is high frequency and cuts through the wind. But the most important signal is fire. 3 fires arranged in a triangle is the international distress signal, but even one smoky fire is visible for miles. Do not just build a fire for warmth, build it for communication. Keep a pile of green pine boughs or wet leaves ready. If you hear a plane, throw the wet stuff on the fire to create a massive column of white smoke. You need to make yourself impossible to ignore. Finally, we arrive at the most difficult decision of all, rule number 5. For the first 72 hours, the standard advice is stay put. It's easier for rescuers to find a stationary target. But what happens when 3 days pass? What happens when 5 days pass? What happens when you are injured and you know with certainty that no one knows where you are? This is the self-rescue threshold. There is a moment where waiting becomes dying. Rule number 5 is know when to walk out. This is a calculated risk. You should only attempt self-rescue if you have exhausted all signaling options, you have adequate water and clothing, and you have a general idea of direction, like following a river downstream. But here's the catch. Once you leave your shelter, you are homeless again. You are burning massive calories. You are exposing yourself to injury. Before you make this decision, you must leave a breadcrumb trail. Leave a note at your camp. Make arrow markers with stones pointing in the direction you are traveling. Mark trees with your knife. If searchers do find your camp after you leave, they need to know which way you went. Self-rescue is the Hail Mary play. It's the last resort when the system has totally failed. But history is full of people who walked out of the jungle alone because they refused to sit and wait for the end. Let's recap the survival protocol when help is ghosting you. Shatter normalcy bias. Accept the danger immediately. Shelter over food. Fight the thermodynamics before you fight the hunger. Drink the water. A hydrated brain is a surviving brain. Create contrast. Be unnatural. Make straight lines and loud noises. And the threshold. Stay put for 72 hours, but be prepared to walk if the silence continues. Survival is not about gear. You can have the best knife in the world, but if you panic, you die. You can have nothing but your clothes, but if you have discipline, you live. The woods are neutral. They don't care if you survive. That decision is entirely up to you. Do you have a personal rule for when to stop waiting and start walking? Let me know in the comments. If you found this survival mindset breakdown helpful, hit the like button so the algorithm shares this with more people. Preparation is the only insurance that pays out instantly. Stay safe, stay sharp, and thanks for watching.